All right. Scared money makes no money. You guys have heard that before, right? I'm sure I don't know. I've shared a lot of memes on it. I thought I made it up, but I didn't. So people say that, and usually in like the hustle context, like you got to spend money to make money. But for us faith driven entrepreneurs, I think it's deeper than that, because the truth is, scared money doesn't just make no money, it makes no impact. Fear led decisions keep you from playing small. They keep you clinging to comfort zones that God already told you to outgrow. And that's exactly what today's episode is about, learning the difference between reckless risk and righteous risk. Oh, that hurt. Because when you put your money, your business, and your strategy in God's hands, it's not about making money anymore. It's about multiplying your purpose. And my guest today, Carolyn Cyprian, is a medical esthetician, entrepreneur, and mentor who embodies that truth. She's built a thriving beauty business. She leads a team, and she now teaches others how to profit with purpose without losing peace. So we are talking things like stewardship, systems, faith, of course, and what it really means to just trust God with your next big move, especially when it costs something. So if you've ever hesitated to invest in yourself before, to hire, to launch, or to step out, this episode is confirmation that faith is not free, but it's always worth it. Because scared money makes no money, but surrendered money multiplies. So let's start where every business breakthrough really starts. And that's the moment when you realize what's working and what's not. But before we go into that, Carolyn, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for having me. I'm excited to be here today. Like you said, it has been a long time coming. I have been in the aesthetic industry 16 years and on my second med spa, and just God is good and he's moving. And I'm excited to talk about this episode today. Like, it's going to be so good, so meaty.
I feel like every time like you're a guest on Booked and Busy, or like I talk to you in person, it's always so valuable for me specifically. And it always fuels me. And the first time I met you in person, I was like, we got to get you on Pretty Rich Podcast, on CEO Glow Show. I still that, whatever.
It's all good.
Okay. So you mentioned how your business was already doing great, but you still felt stretched thin, right? So
yes.
You had a choice to simplify to one hero service, Aerolase laser treatments. So you have this really incredible discipline, math-based clarity, thus your freebie, and how you treat your data like stewardship. So what was the moment you realized that I can't keep doing everything? And, what did surrender look like for you as a CEO?
Trusting to hire help and staff, being in the industry for so long and being burnt so many times and taken advantage of. It was really just surrendering to God in order to send me the right people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's one of the things that I loved about PRB is like, it's almost like you cherry picked your team. And I think that makes such a big difference, but it does take trust, right? Mm-hmm. And I had to surrender that hurt. I had to surrender all the betrayal. And so getting back to, Aerolase, just finding a company that's going to, one, support my business, as well as something that's I can profit on to where I don't have to kill myself. Mm-hmm. And feeling like if I have 12 people on the book, that's going to equal a success. Mm-hmm. So I figured out a way to have services that gives me my worth, and then I can have the revenue to create more freedom for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, when you mentioned betrayal and like, team members and stuff, I think people who first start out hiring expect that kind of, because they've heard all the stories. But I've hired so many people and I've gotten betrayed so many times, like by, and sometimes unintentionally. Sometimes it's just the natural order of humans and like,
Hmm.
how they want to grow or how they want to protect themselves, even if it's at the expense of the entire company.
Hmm.
So I just think that it's kind of a part of it. And you just got to have that faith that, all things work.
I think that also you obviously have to have the faith, but being okay when God closed those doors, because if they're not aligned with your values, with who
Yeah.
you are, with your business, it's not going to work anyway. And a lot of times it's not necessarily all bad. It was just like, man, I invested more
Yeah.
time with said person.
Time.
But, I always say nothing's wasted, right? Like I learned a lesson. I'm sure they learned a lesson and we can move on. And I can just trust that he's going to send me the right people. So I definitely hire slow and fire fast. That's
Hmm.
something I had
Hmm.
to learn early on.
Hmm.
But yeah, just really surrendering the fact that I can't do it all on my own. I don't
Hmm.
want to do it all on my own,
Hmm.
and really trusting that the right people are going to be in place. And so far, he's done a great job this
Oh,
year. I have two really great, incredible souls that I also feel like I'm
oh.
stewarding as well.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just how you do life when you're a believer. Everything's like a ministry, everything's
Yep.
an opportunity to share. Also, I think when it comes to, working with people and then, getting betrayed or like things not working out, it's also an opportunity for us to look inward at ourselves because you can't
Yes.
change other people, but especially if you have that obedience, like you can. And how can sometimes it's us. No, it's like sometimes
1000%.
I did not pour into this person. I didn't train them well enough. What could I have done and what can I do better? But I do think people just get just too caught up in the negativity of what they've done that they can't move on. They can't move on.
Right.
They can't hire again. They can't try again.
Right.
And that's, where the faith comes in, right?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, Proverbs 16:3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans.
Yes.
So let's talk about your coaching mindset, how you lead people through example. You said your nurse didn't like talking to people online. How did you help her get past that fear?
Just to show up as herself and not try to be anyone else but her, and just really leaning into her identity. Like, you are a
Mm.
believer, changing her mindset around sales, like
Mm.
this person needs this. Like, if not, they're going to go out and potentially get burned or too much Botox and different
Mm.
paralysis with the face. So I just shifted the mindset from like, oh, I'm DMing people to sell them. No, like they need what we have to offer.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like that's our almost our obligation,
Mhm.
because they wouldn't be communicating with us if they didn't have
Right.
any type of interest.
Right.
And if it
Right.
doesn't align,
They're still talking to you.
yeah, if the and and if the service or ourselves it doesn't align, I'm just a firm believer that we are going to attract the right people,
Mhm.
and just constantly reminding, them both that. And I think it's a lot of overthinking, not sure of themselves. So
Mhm.
just continues to nurture and pour back into them
Mhm.
to build up that confidence.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think that sales is just seen as like we say this all the time and this is old news for you and I, but sales is like a really uncomfortable topic for people. It's just an
It
uncomfortable
is.
word and I
Mhm.
really understand that because if you've been sold to in a harsh way in the past or in an awkward way in the past, it's like it's creepy and it's like it makes you feel nasty almost. It's like
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
like I was just sold to. But if you if you've ever bought anything and you didn't feel sold to, you just felt like somebody was helping you.
Yeah. And
Absolutely,
and
right?
and that's why I tell them both, and even my coaching clients, I'm like, if you believe in what you do, if you believe in what you're selling,
Mhm.
you're not selling. Like it's an exchange, really.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's it's a mutual exchange, because like if someone's coming to me and they've been suffering from acne for 20 years, they've
yeah.
tried Accutane 2, 3 times, antibiotics.
Yeah.
You need what I have. Like, I
Yeah.
want to give this to you. And
Yeah.
I just so happen to be getting paid for it. And
Yeah.
it's like a long-term relationship that
Uh-huh.
I have with these clients, and they've been coming to me for years. And that's why it's so important to know like your niche and know what you're good at and what you're excited
Mm-hmm.
to said sell, because
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be a sell.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an exchange. So I try to do that, especially with coaching, because people are afraid to ask for money.
Mm-hmm. Where do you
They're
think it comes from?
I think it's mindset. I think it's an unbelief. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people have and that's something that I had to learn, is to have a better relationship with money,
Mm-hmm.
because I see it in my family history. If I spend, I don't have the faith that I'm going to get it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see
So
that too. Yeah.
it's like I have to hold everything, and that's not trusting in God, that's not trusting in your craft. So it's just a really, really bad mindset,
Uh-huh.
and it's hard to grow from it.
Yeah. How did you grow from it?
So um I recently did a podcast, and I had randomly said to a friend that I think I have an unhealthy relationship with money. And when I spoke those words out of my mouth, it was almost like God was
Recently?
like, this was like 2 years ago, but I did the podcast
Okay.
recently. Yeah. And she was like, really? She was like, girl, you need to figure that out, because, I know where God is taking you, and that's not cool. And she's like, explain it to me. I'm like, every time I see my account drop to a certain number, I would have this like unspoken anxiety. And
Mm.
I don't claim that I don't have anxiety. And,
Mm.
and so when I start praying about it, he literally took me through almost like a 2.5, 3 month season of, I'm only going to give you exactly what you need. So everything that was familiar, everything that was coming in, that was used to coming, it was like a dry spell, just unexplained. People was canceling left and right. And at first I kind of laughed. I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're doing. You're trying to test my faith. And it was like, no, like, I don't ever want you to feel like this or have this mindset again. So it was me literally, I was like meditating on his word, on what he said about finances, trusting him. And as I was getting out of the season, I was like, oh, this was really a lesson. Like, he really taught me. And it's like your children, right? Like,
Mm.
he's our father. Like, he wants us to come to him as children. If your son scraped his knee and said, this really hurts, you're going to tend to him. You're going to teach him
Mm.
how to ride a bike, said,
Mm.
like the right way. And so in that 3 month period, really had to just completely not depend on anything but him. I have
That's what he was
resources.
teaching you
He's
to,
my source,
yeah. And
not
so
all the things.
that drought taught, so he only gave you just enough of everything, but you,
Literally,
but you never lacked.
never, never lacked. Not one time. And it would be like, something big was coming out the next day, and it was absolutely nothing in the account, and I'd wake up the next morning and I'd see someone purchase the package for like, $2,800 overnight. Like, that's how it was, just like that close, like for 3 months straight. And I feel like I had became comfortable with being things going easy and flowing,
Yeah.
financially,
Yeah.
to where he was like, "Oh no, I need to reel you back in. I need you to hone in on, like, I am your resource.
Yeah.
I am your source, excuse me, but these things are resources."
Yeah.
Like, people who hadn't canceled their appointment with me in like 10 years was canceling their appointments. Like, that's how obvious it was that I was in this season. And
Funny, God, funny.
right,
Not funny,
like,
but
okay,
funny.
okay, yeah. And it was just like the moment, it was almost like I just felt something different. And it's never came up again. I've never felt it again. Like, even my coach Joe was like, Carolyn, I don't know anybody that did a turnaround that fast.
What
It
turned it
was,
around?
I just think that I learned my lesson.
Mm.
I
You
think
just knew it was time.
I
You just
just,
it was like she's had enough.
I literally just changed how I was speaking about money. It was just like a shift. It was literally like a mindset shift. And
Yeah.
so I'm actually teaching an office right now,
Uh-huh.
speaking to her front desk, who's
Uh-huh.
terrified to ask for money. And I
Uh-huh.
said, well, I can do my best, but when you have this mindset for 60 plus years, I mean, it takes a lot of work to change that, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I have hope. I have trust that, she swears she is the right person for that position. So it's just speaking life and, pouring into that negativity or whatever it is that's blocking them. I think
Mm-hmm.
they look at their own self
Mm-hmm.
and their own finances and what they can afford. And then they
Mm-hmm.
project that on other people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Can you give us some actionable things like that maybe our listeners can, kind of copy what you did? Because yeah,
yeah.
that might not, it's like, how did you speak differently about money?
So, because I am faith-based, I went back to the word and I looked up scriptures. I searched scriptures, and that was his promise to me. As if I'm his child and he's my father, he promised me. And so there's so many scriptures about money in the Bible, and I think a lot of people just don't know that. And so I wrote them down, and so every time a negative thought or a doubt would come to my head, I put it in notes in my phone, and I'd go back and I read it and I would speak it out loud. And I was just declaring that, like, whatever mindset, whatever's in my heart that does not belong. Because I look at us as trees, right? So we have to uproot the weeds.
Mhm,
So that was a weed that was
mhm,
grown from probably childhood,
mhm,
not having a lot
mhm,
of money,
mhm,
and being the first in my family to be an entrepreneur.
mhm,
So, it's
mhm.
like there was a weed that I needed
A
to
weed,
uproot. Yeah. And
right.
so every single day I would meditate on those scriptures and ask God to remove out of my mindset that what doesn't belong. One of the scriptures that I have really been meditating on and just like constantly right now in this season is Psalms 1:3.
Mhm,
And and this is the NLT version. It says, they are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and whatever they do, they prosper. And that means that he's promising, like, as long as we stay connected to the tree and we're watering our tree and, we're doing what thus said the Lord, we're going to bear fruit and we're going to stay green no matter what the seasons around us.
mhm,
So, and I also think that, like, unfortunately, like, political and all that stuff has a lot to do with people's mindset and
mhm.
what's
And their
negativism.
identity and their identity.
1000%.
Yeah.
That's what I just learned yesterday. Well, my pastor's teaching on is really knowing who we are and whose we are. Like, that
Mhm,
will 100% make or break,
mhm,
you know, our faith.
mhm, mhm. My last podcast was tied to this. It was all about identity.
Hmm.
And so I think it's a theme that's like coming up probably even at church. It's just like about identity and
Hmm.
how we identify when you look in a mirror, like what do you see? Who do you
Right.
see? Do you see an entrepreneur? Well, what if that goes away someday? Do you see a young woman? Well, what if that goes away someday? Do you see a
Mm.
marketer, a business owner? What happens when it all goes away? Who are you really? Where is your identity tied to? Because all of those labels are temporary. Do you see a political party? What do you see?
Hmm.
Goes away. What if that
Hmm.
political party goes cuckoo and you're like, I don't know about this no more, which happens a lot. So
Hmm.
it's like, yeah. So who are you?
Yeah.
Um,
So, and that's true, because that is what our culture wants us to adopt every identity except the one we supposed to own.
that part.
And honestly, like, that is just really, for me, I'm a disciple of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I am the child of the Most High. And during that droughty season, I'm like, Lord, like, and at that point, I honestly thought he was trying to call me to something else, because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm doing everything that I know that works and
Yeah.
it's not working. So during that season, I surrendered my business back to him.
Mm-hmm.
I rededicated my business back to him and was like,
Mm,
you are the CEO of my business. I surrender this to you. If it's not meant for me to be in this industry or in this build,
whatever.
whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it doesn't belong to me. I've
Right.
rededicated it back to you. So that means if you don't supply my needs, that means I'm not,
Hmm.
maybe it's not
But he
meant to
did.
be. And he did. He did.
Hey, stop for a second. Did you know that most people who watch the CEO Glow Show are not even subscribed? What? So, if you are on a mission to level up your beauty business, your family life, your prayer life, hit that subscribe button now so we can stay in touch. Now, we're talking about how, during that season when you're tempted to be afraid and to cower and to close your doors, that you fought against that and you didn't do that and you pushed through. And I remember like some of the lowest financial seasons of my life is when I spent the most money that I didn't have. And that's when I got the biggest breakthroughs. And I'm like,
Yes. Absolutely.
what is that about?
Absolutely. I think that for me, it's like I had to bet on my faith.
Mm. Oh, and people say bet on yourselves. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I
We're
had to
all
bet
bad
on
bets. We're all bad bets.
seriously. I had to bet on my faith. Like I can't go to church Sunday after Sunday, spend time with him every day, and then the moment something bad happens or things don't go the way that I want them to go, I want to cower and so I just be like, Lord, I put this in your hands. I trust
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
trust that you're going to do exactly what your word says.
Uh-huh.
And he always does because
Yeah.
that's where the work is.
Yeah.
We have to put the work in order to activate faith.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you discern what is a reckless investment versus what a faith-filled investment is?
I have peace or I don't. And I
Mm,
feel like that peace comes from the Holy Spirit. Like
mm,
anything that I do, I usher him in. I ask him to help me to make a decision. I ask for wisdom. I ask for revelation. I
mm.
ask for knowledge and
Yeah.
things that I may not know to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't say all the time, but like as of late, like when I'm really, really, I think it's the intention behind it too, when we ask, right? Like,
Mm,
what's my intention? My intention is to be able to reach more people, his people, right? Because I know that what I do and what my staff do, I know that it's ministry. So I'm like, Lord, these are your people. You are entrusting me. So that's how I look at it.
mm.
And if there is a slow season, I'm still being provided for. All is well.
Yeah. I
It's
keep
like
thinking about that. Yeah.
everything is in season. That's what his
Mm-hmm.
word says. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look at time, he looks at season. There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be seasons where we produce, there's going to be seasons where, you know, it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not. So, I think that for me, just really tapping back into my spirit and seeing how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm uneasy, I typically don't make a decision right away. I say 3 business days. I'm very, very like cautious about it. And then when things feel right, like especially investing in my business for coaching and investing into myself for development. Cause I think that people
Right.
think coaching is just hand holding, but it's like, no, like I've developed in my coaching program as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've gotten better. I know how to interview correctly. There's so many different things that like I didn't even expect to get from it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's like if I want to continue to evolve and I want to continue to grow, like you have to make those decisions and trust. I think it's even your own instinct, and that is
Mm.
your discernment is really, really
Discernment.
leaning in. But every time I've made a decision and it was a very scary decision, I had peace about it. And it always
Because
works
you
out.
asked. Because you
Yes.
asked. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's such a bold move. And I think that people just don't even, we don't even talk about how bold it is to even ask God for peace, for
Mhm.
signs, for
Mhm.
revelation. Show yourself to me, Lord. I was just telling my kid that yesterday. I was like, have you ever prayed for God to just
Mhm.
reveal himself. Like, just,
Mhm.
hey, God, this is what's going on
Mhm.
with me.
Mhm.
Tell me, tell me. And
Mhm.
if you ask, I just feel like there's so many grown adults that have never even dared to ask for something as what the world thinks is silly as like signs.
Right.
Show me a sign, God. Show me a sign. And I understand like how silly that is, but also it's like if you spend time with your father, you will know his voice. Like when
Yep.
he's talking to you. We have a client, Alyssa, who we're gonna have here on this show soon. She asked for a bunch of signs. She asked for a bunch of signs and she got a bunch of signs. She got feathers popping out everywhere, just in
Mhm.
random places. And she was like, this is odd. And so I was like, wow, you straight up asked for something. I want to experience that. I want to experience something weird. Let's get into
It ha
weird. Yeah.
it happens to me all the time, Sheila.
Ah, tell us.
So I see feathers a lot, which they always say that that is your angel that is just, in your path and letting you know that you are on the right path. And then also red cardinals. I see them a lot and they're
That's not
not,
very common.
it's not, no. I mean, so I recently, this summer moved back to an area where me and my husband had lived in for like 5 years, and we went out in a little suburb to see if we were going to like it, decide if we're going to buy a house there. And I didn't realize how much I wasn't at peace with where I was.
Mhm.
And so we moved back this summer, and I was walking to the gym one day, and I hadn't seen a cardinal the whole year I was in this other area. A whole year had went by, I hadn't seen one cardinal. I'm walking to the gym, this was in July, and this cardinal literally flew in front of me. It was literally this close to my nose, went right across my face. And I just laughed because every time I see one, there's a peace that comes over me, almost like I'm on the right path. And so the last time I saw this gigantic feather was I was in Monterey, California on vacation in August. And it was just this beautiful white feather just laying there. I actually took a picture of it. Just random, just random. That
Wow.
happens to me all the time. And I think as I develop as a believer, as a disciple, I know that God gave me vision from a very young child.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
as I'm developing that, I feel like
Mhm.
it's definitely I'm seeing more things.
Yeah. It's interesting for me. Like I had a very clear something as simple as even the sky. Listen, the
Mm-hmm.
sky is beautiful all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about a week ago at dinner. Yeah, dinner, and I was there with my family, and I've sat in that same chair several times, and I looked at that same sky several times. But when you know your father, it was very clear. Like God said, "I got you. I see you." I
Mm-hmm.
looked at the same sky,
Mm-hmm.
and I just had a moment with the Holy Spirit. And even though it was like something I saw all the time, it was just so deeply personal and genuine to me. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of my prayer for anybody listening to this, that you have a personal experience with God that's
Mm-hmm.
unique, that, because he'll speak all sorts of languages and will tap into all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of personalities, that you guys experience something so unique, so personal for you, that is so clear that God is near and he's
Mm-hmm.
calling out for you to step out of your comfort zone and do the thing. So,
So what's so I think people don't really realize is that the Bible calls the Holy Spirit the comforter.
mhm. Yeah.
He does. He calls him the comforter for a reason. Like you should
Mhm.
feel peace. You should feel a presence. You should feel comfort. And I think that it's just one, I think maybe people just don't have the faith to ask,
Mhm.
or they're unsure of how to ask. And it's so simple. It's so simple. I went to a conference this February, and this pastor said, healing is just like when we pray the prayer of salvation. And so she had the whole congregation say the prayer of salvation. And we're all reciting it. I've recited it 100,000 times, but I'm like, I'm going to just say it again.
Yeah.
And like, why not? Right. And she said, when you said that prayer of salvation, no signs and wonders happened, but
Uh-huh.
you accepted Christ by faith.
Mm.
So
Mm,
we're supposed to do that in every area of our life. If we have pain in our body, and we have
mhm,
the spirit of infirmity, speak
mhm.
it, like call it out, like
Yeah.
by faith. Like
Yeah.
but and there's nothing that happened. She's like,
Mhm,
that's how we have to address healing. And
mhm.
ever since then, I've done that. And I'll wake up with these weird pains. And I'm like, by faith, I speak to this spirit and my neck is healed. And
Mhm,
I mean, 1 or 2 days, I'm back to normal. My husband jokes all the time. He's always says, "Oh, you're God's favorite." I mean, I had been seeing clients all of, the pandemic
mhm.
with a mask, obviously, but never got COVID. And I had it last year and it lasted for a day, maybe 2 days, full 2 days. And it was almost like I never had it again, never had it. But as I was laying there, like fevered and all the things, I was just renouncing the sickness and praying healing scriptures
Praise
over
God.
myself. two
Praise
days. It's literally all in our faith and in our mindset.
Yeah.
So
You motivate me to put this community of beauty business believers together. I've been working on it for a little bit, but you're motivating me because that we need a community like this to
we
teach
do.
us
Hmm.
to empower one another. And how do you pray over your business? How do you surrender and dedicate your business to the Lord? Oh, my
Hmm.
next question was how do you differentiate when you're about to make a big decision? And there's a lot of people who might be like, well, I never feel peace when I make a big decision. It's always scary, right? How is it a little different though? Because like something that I always say is like, do it scared, right? Now, don't do it without peace
Yes.
because you could be afraid and still have peace about it
Hmm.
anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I want to do it. But there's some people who just never get to peace, or like, or like it's never going to be that comfortable. It's always going to hurt a little bit. I think people think that if they're going to make a big decision about something, about stepping out of their faith, that they're waiting for it to be painless.
That's true.
But it's
Because
not. It's about
no.
yes. So how do you explain the people waiting for an absolutely painless decision versus the peace? You know what I mean?
I don't really think that's realistic because if we are relying on our emotions, if we're relying on a feeling, I feel like our heart does deceive us sometimes. I think that if you know that there's gaps in your business, or if you know that there's something that you have been praying about, and like I truly believe that God gives us opportunity to exercise our faith.
Yeah.
When we exercise, it's uncomfortable. Those
Yeah.
muscles being torn, it's uncomfortable. It hurts. Like I
And you're
did Pilates
sore.
for the first time. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Don't do
that's how our faith becomes strong.
I don't do Pilates. I do it and it sucks. And I do it all the time. It's terrible. It's a bad idea.
It's just painful. So, but the only way that
Yeah.
that muscle can grow is if it's torn. If it's there's some tearing, there's some ripping, there's some uncomfortableness. I think
Yeah.
that, having all this peace and butterflies and every decision is just unrealistic. And that's what's going to keep people stuck and stagnant. I really do believe that.
So I think maybe what I'm getting from you is, I'm on a Mac right now, and it's there's different operating systems, right? There's different
Mm,
operating versions. There's the what is it, Sierra or whatever, right? You download the new operating system,
mhm,
and when you are connected to Jesus, you
mm.
update your operating system, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
apps better, things are newer, things are sleeker, things are working faster.
Hmm.
And so I guess what you might be trying to say is like when you make a decision like that, which operating system are you using? Are you using the faith-filled operating system to have that peace, or are you using just that ego, pride, self-protective operating system that you're like, no, I can't because I gotta, that scarcity. So I guess there is a very a challenging wisdom to discern which operating system am I using right now
That's
because I'm
so
scared to
true.
do something.
And that's why I always say, like, you don't have to make a decision right away. Like I have like some of my coaching
Yeah.
clients are like, you know, I'm really nervous to make this decision. And I'm like, wait 3 business days. Just pray about it.
I'm
You don't have
with
to
you on that.
rush. Don't have to rush because I know that anything that's from Christ, like
Mm,
you're not gonna have this. It's not gonna be what do you call that? Like, you're not gonna be unsettled.
unsettled. Yeah.
You're not gonna have that queasiness. Now, I've done. I've
Yeah.
put my
Yeah.
faith out in there, and I was nervous, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, but once I made a decision, I had peace. Like God was like, peace be
Right.
still. I was
Right.
fine. But
Right.
making the decision, right? Making the
Right.
decision is always hard. But like you shouldn't there shouldn't be turmoil. There should not
Yeah.
be confusion. There should not be whatever it is that you're trying to do, it should be clear and concise.
Mm-hmm.
There should be clarity.
Yeah. What would you say to the woman listening who knows she's supposed to be bigger, but fear is holding her back?
I would say fear is anchored to something. So I would sit with yourself and really even journal, write down what you fear and pray about that said fear. Ask God
Mhm.
to give you revelation as to why. Because I feel like, it's just a root cause,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And He's going to give you that revelation.
Mhm.
He's going to give you that revelation as to why you're
Mhm.
fearful,
Mhm.
why you're afraid to take the next step to
Yeah.
whatever it is that's in front of you. For instance, people in my family say, well, I won't ever get on a cruise ship, because they have a fear of water. The water is the root cause. Like they're
Mhm.
afraid of a large body of water.
Mhm.
So get to ask God to identify what's causing you to have that fear towards whatever that thing
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
because it's always the root cause. There's
Yeah.
something, and there's fragments of our soul that we go our whole life not mending.
Yeah.
Like he wants us to be healed and whole
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And so if we have some pockets of our lives where there is fear, there's
Yeah.
some unresolved stuff. Because I will tell you, I grew so much in my faith when I went through healing and deliverance myself,
Yeah.
me personally. And it literally just blossomed into my business, because it's like, I don't have fear to
Mhm.
take a leap out on faith. I believe what his word says.
Yeah.
I know where he's trying to take me. And we are all created to bring more people to Christ, to be disciples. And we can't be broke disciples.
Yeah. God did
Everything
not call you to be broke. He called you to be generous. He actually
seriously.
called you to be generous. He didn't say
Yeah.
be broke. He said
Right.
be generous.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So, Carolyn, how can we find you and how can we work with you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is at Carolyn Skincare, and that's Carolyn Skincare. And I have my coaching program, which is My Profit with Purpose. That's on Instagram. And yeah, websites, carolynskincare.com. Super easy.
Thank you so much for joining us. And
Of course.
I will link all of your links in the show notes.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so excited for you and what's to come.
Me too. Me too. Take care.